like love and nature.
Welcome to the dollhouse. I am the doll. That video was of me and hubby over the weekend doing a little camping. Very fun time. I highly recommend going out and enjoying nature. So today I'm going to be talking about teaching your kids inferiority. So, a lot of these people, they're teaching their kids and they really think that they're doing the best things by warning their children and protecting their children. I do have a bonus daughter. Well, I guess she's my only daughter. But I would never teach her this. And I hope that her father will also instill a sense of being on par with everyone else. And when insults are hurled at her based on how she looks, just to take it as a grain of salt, just the way she would if someone hurled an insult about her based on how she smells, based on her reading ability, based on her math ability, based on, any other thing that kids find fault with children and tease them about. I would encourage her not to take it so harshly. The video that I'm about to show is of an Asian mother learning that her biracial child or mixed race child is being bullied by someone who has called her the N-word.
His stepsister was saying the A-word to Evie to show me. She's 12 years old.
Alright, call them. What did Vivi say?
She was just saying stuff in the group or something.
Alright, can I talk to Vivi's mom?
Yeah.
Let me talk to your mom.
What?
You're a really ugly kid. You know that?
Your daughter's a black ass baby.
What did you say?
What? What did you say?
Mimi, come on, Mimi. And I'm not letting you talk to my mom. African bitch.
What's happening?
Did you just hear that?
You call her ugly kid? You shouldn't call her an ugly girl either, babe.
Well, because she freaking called her ugly.
I know, that's really bad.
Yeah,
terrible.
because she's an ugly kid. The way she said, it's a very ugly
you're
thing.
Very right, it is.
It's a very
You
ugly
need to get
thing.
in contact with the parents. Who are these? Now, who are these?
Why can I not
Huh?
call a kid an ugly kid? When they say something very ugly, I can say ugly kid.
Yeah,
You're a very ugly kid.
The mother responded the way she did because deep down, she believes that there is something bad about being dark-skinned, so-called black. She believes that there is something different about her daughter that makes her inferior to others, or that other people will perceive her as being inferior because of her skin tone. She put a lot of weight on the insult, the N-word, and it's because there's some internalized belief and shame around the N-word, the time in history when it was popularized, being connected to formerly enslaved people, and the shame is evident in her reaction. So the little bully who said the N-word was raised to believe that people who are the descendants of formerly enslaved people are inferior. She was raised to believe that Africans are subhuman. She was raised to believe that her whiteness makes her superior, her so-called whiteness. However, if a person knows that their racial makeup doesn't make them inferior and that they're just as good as anyone else, then they will also understand that some people live in a delusion. The delusion of so-called whiteness that makes them superior. If they know that so-called blackness is a social construct and melanated skin does not make them subhuman, then things like the N-word would mean nothing. It would mean nothing other than the person who is saying it is stuck in a time warp, living in a dream, living back in the day when their ancestors oppressed others. Okay, and they're basically delusional. So if they know that blackness is a social construct, then they know that the person who is saying it as an insult should not be taken seriously. Okay, it's just as trivial as someone trying to make fun of them for their height or their shoe size or any other thing that they were born as. Okay, their heritage, Like she's really insulting her based on a history lesson, but the mother takes it so seriously. And it's because there are some deep-seated feelings of inferiority connected to Blackness. So if you don't actually feel inferior, then somebody pointing out a racial difference is just not going to shake you like that. If there was no shame around the daughter's ethnicity, then the mother would not have reacted the way that she did. And it's not because she's an Asian woman, because a lot of Black parents react the exact same way. She's only doing what she thought was the right thing by standing up for her daughter, trying to make it known that that's not okay for her to be insulted based on race. But if there was no shame around it, then she wouldn't have reacted that way. There are still many people who believe that Blackness makes people inferior. Many of them are Black. But when you don't believe that being Black is inferior, that being Black makes you inferior, then no one can use it against you as an insult. It just isn't an insult. It's like, okay, yes, I have copper-colored skin. Yeah. It's just like someone trying to insult you for having long hair. It's like, yeah, I have long, luxurious hair. So there's just so much negativity surrounding the N-word that it's banned. It's literally restricted. It's restricted from use by certain groups of people. Instances, and it's banned from public spaces unless you have the privilege of being the descendant of an enslaved person, or a person with dark skin, or a person with a slight tan, or a person in hip hop. You can say it. You get a pass to say it. And I don't think the word should be banned. In my view, it should not be a protected word, because the best part of the Constitution is the freedom of speech. And taking such offense to a word so trivial, 6 letters, it really reveals that some people have a deep shame from their relationship to slavery, formerly enslaved, and that past. And it's just time to let that go. I mean, in reality, the word holds no weight. It can cause no harm. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never actually hurt me. I don't know when they stopped teaching that. You have to let those words roll off like water off a duck's back. Another thing that the 12-year-old does is call the little girl an African. And, obviously there's someone who has taught her that being an African is insulting, or it is a label of inferiority. And you definitely don't want to teach your child that. This mother, I know she was very upset, but her best course of action would have been to tell her daughter that she should be proud of having some African heritage, the accomplishments of African people, and let people know, especially that 12-year-old, that if she's trying to insult her by naming her ancestry, that it's weird. And there are many things that she can credit her ancestors with. So you're welcome. And yes, I am an African. That's what she should be equipping her child to say. The mother would have been better off teaching her daughter that her African heritage is something to be proud of. And obviously, she has some Asian heritage as well. So making it weird for other people to comment on ethnicity or country of origin would be easier than trying to make them feel bad for commenting on, dark skin tone or the country of origin or history. It would be more advantageous to equip the young daughter with the tools of confidence to know that there's nothing to be ashamed of in relationship to her heritage. And that any negative stereotypes associated with people that are descendant from the formerly enslaved, that has nothing to do with her. And that there are degenerates of every race. So, there are lessons to be learned here, and attaching a lot of weight to a word and making it a source of pain for oneself and one's children is not a good idea. It means that you can be controlled with a simple word, and that's letting people have too much control over you. That's having that external locus of control. Knowing yourself and knowing that you are descendant from the God of heaven or whatever you believe in, knowing that you are divine in nature and not just human. You are not just your skin tone. You are not just the makeup of your ancestry. You're none of those things. You are more than that. It really does help bring peace of mind. So I hope that we can teach this to kids in the future. People need to know that slavery has happened on every continent, with every race of people, in every time period, and is still happening today. American slavery, yes, it was horrific. Absolutely. It also helped to shape the culture of America and the world, creating Americans of every skin tone. The descendants of formerly enslaved Americans will benefit from releasing any shame associated with being terms like the N-word or quadroon or mulatto. Our African ancestors did not create these terms. It was their captors who did. And they were just forced to live under the terms and under the identities created by the captors. We have to know and teach that the captors needed to make the slaves feel like they were subhuman. Like they needed to feel like they were going to be unsuccessful if they tried to resist. They needed them to feel like they were subhuman so that they could lose any confidence and stay docile. And the lies told about their humanity, they still somehow persist. People are still living under that delusion. And we don't have to over here in the dollhouse. We can take pride in our influence and our excellence. We're working toward excellence. And it proves their lies to be false. So we're, infusing ourselves and our children with confidence rather than inferiority. So I hope this makes sense, y'all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll be talking soon.